We knew that leaving the sector in the state that it was actually posed a great public health challenge for the state, and so we moved to set standards and also enforce regulation. And as I speak to you, this livestock and livestock regulatory product regulatory agency just came into being a few months back. But as a benefit of that, we already have an investor who is here and has signed up with an MOU with the Kaduna State government to establish 2 ultra-modern abattoirs. And we're just looking at, we're not just looking at the local market, we're also looking at export. So once we have this regulatory agency that is able to regulate practices in the sector, and meat comes out from very hygienic sources that can be trusted globally, and then they have a stamp of this agency, then we're done. We will not only supply meat to the rest of the country, but we will supply meat across the globe.
We thank you very much, and we hope that everybody appreciated that build-up to our first plenary of today, okay? And our plenary of the day, the first, is actually on agriculture, but one component of it, unlocking the potentials of the livestock value chain, where we'll get our proteinous, nutritional, and economic values in that chain. Our moderator, Your Excellencies, our distinguished guest, is none other than Kaduna State Commissioner for Agriculture and Forestry, Dr. Manzo Maigari. Please, can you make your way here, sir, to the platform? Good morning, sir, and welcome. Sir, you'll be here to receive your panelists that include Mr. Sharad Gupta, Global Head, Olam Group. Gupta. No, you are the first here, sir, to receive your guest. I didn't mean to you should stand, sir. Okay? Mr. Gupta from Olam Group. Okay, the next one is Mr. Andrew Kwaseri, Special Advisor, Agriculture Interventions Coordination, Office of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Next is Dr. Leo Nyam, General Manager, Kaduna State Livestock and Livestock Products Regulatory Agency. Then we have Mr. Steen Heisberg, beg your pardon, Vice President, Sub-Saharan Africa, ALA Foods. Then comes Mr. Idi Mukhtar Maiha, Chief Executive Officer, Zaida Farms. Zaida Farms making his way. The last but not the least is Hafsa Jumari, Associate, you just saw her a while ago, Busara Center for Behavioral Economics. The moderator, that is your panelists. I take my leave, and I leave you with the business of the day. 45 minutes, please, sir. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on an established protocol. The thrust of this plenary is unlocking the potentials in the livestock sector. At the moment, two interesting things are happening in Nigeria. The first, at the level of the federal government, is the National Livestock Transformation Program, which envisages the establishment of modern ranches, a very pragmatic approach to proof of business concept, which has components in breed improvement, pasture development, and efficient land and water management. In Kaduna State, as usual, we've also taken the lead. We've established a livestock and livestock products regulatory agency, and that is vested with the responsibility of setting standards in that sector and then regulating, enforcing regulations in the sector. And as you can see, here we have experts, practitioners in agribusiness, but specifically in the livestock sector. I would direct my first question to Dr. Kwasari. We understand that livestock is the very foundation of the rural economy. In fact, it is stated that it is the current asset on the balance sheet of players in the rural economy. We are aware that there are quite a number of programs that have been well thought out by the federal government. How do these programs seek to address the issues that have bedeviled the rural economy?
Thank you very much, moderator. So let me recap if I got your question. The question basically says, what are the plans by federal government to deal with the issues that is bedeviling the, that is bedeviling the livestock sector? Or are we approaching it from the component that the importance of livestock to the rural economy, what government is doing to address that? So let me start with the importance of livestock to the rural economy. I think it is very clear that livestock in Nigeria is the importance of it is underestimated. Its value to the rural economy also is underestimated. But this is livestock from the perspective of cattle rearing, which is done in the traditional way, which therefore is the pastoral way. It is very important. There are many reasons that today we cannot see that, even though it is important and serves the major item on the balance sheet of the rural household or the rural pastoral community, but it's not viewed in the same light, maybe in the organized economy or formal economy, particularly the banks and co. Why is this so? I think because basically, our method of production or how husbandry is done, there is no clarity that captures the importance of livestock to be able to present it as important. So it could be important on the balance sheet of the rural economy, but it's not important on the balance sheet of the formal economy. This has to do with the method of production, basically, the type, and the value itself, the value system and the value addition. So livestock can be seen today as a living and working asset that is basically the cow. The associated benefit is not being tapped into, and these are part of the approaches of government. So government is thinking, how do we modernize the whole system? How do we modernize the entire system? And that is what led to the crafting of the National Livestock Transformation Plan, which is a 10-year plan. And I think your governor is a part of the architects of that plan because he sits on the steering committee. Now, what does this seek to do for the nation? We are approaching that, A, if we implement this plan properly, we will modernize the way livestock, particularly cattle production, is done. Why is cattle production seen as a major component of transforming the entire livestock sector? Because today, the cattle production is bedeviled by conflict, and this conflict do not affect only the pastoral economy, it affects the sedentary crop economy. And the sedentary crop economy is key in generating the raw material that you need if you want to add on your poultry, your piggery. So you need basically a stable production of corn, a stable production of soy to feed in the other livestock components for fishery and all of this. So what we are seeing is that government has crafted a strategy, and this strategy has many components, about 6 of them, basically to enable the environment. Having enabled the environment, we will then anticipate investment from the private equity. Because if the environment is not enabled, what has actually happened always, and I like when you open, you say the interventionist approach or developmental approach of government in dealing with agriculture. Now, what government is saying this time around is that stick your resources to the enablers such that you can show more the opportunities for the investable opportunities for those that have private capital. And that then, with clarity, what the government approach is trying to do is stick with policies, stick with resources. What are the key enablers? You mentioned in your video some productive infrastructure. The lady on the tomato also mentioned and showed a road. So productive infrastructure around power, road, demarcation and all of this. But there is a question that has to be dealt with, the issue of resources that drive the entire livestock on the primary basis. And that is the discussion around land, which I'm happy to hear Kaduna doing very well on it, the issue around pasture, and the issue around water. These are key resources. Then we can talk about the conflict between the pastoral community and the crop community. So I think government policies are broad, but we can narrow down maybe with more specific questions to see how do we create this ecosystem. I think the question here, and when I listen to the president of ALA, is that how can government, together with the public, with the private sector, agree on set of policies, agree on what needs to be done, and do them transparently. Everybody has a role. Public spend has to stick within enablement areas, while private investment takes and reaps from the opportunities that come in terms of capital growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Andrew. Dr. Leo Nyang, you are the GM of the Kaduna State Livestock and Livestock Products Regulatory Agency, the very first of its kind in this country. A study of the meat sector in Kaduna State in 2015 indicated that that sector, excluding poultry and piggery, was worth 26 billion annually. And it was a major source of employment as well as income for the government. Considering the potentials, that report indicated that the practice at the time was like scratching the ground with bare hands. But they were also quick to identify the lack of standards and enforcement of regulation as the major challenge. Now you sit on this, you are mandated to do this. What should the people of Kaduna State expect? What should investors in this hall expect?
Thank you very much. It is on record that Kaduna State is actually the first in the nation to even come up with the regulation of livestock and livestock products in Nigeria. With that, any value, any potential that the state has, and is not hinged on regulation, we are primitive. And being primitive means we are not going to reap the fruit of all the potential that is in it. And livestock, as a commodity, has various stages. There is the production, there is the processing, there is the packaging, there is even the marketing or trade and consumption. All of these are the things that we must clean up. Today, if you go to the major abattoirs in Kaduna, you are likely not going to eat beef again. The slaughter methods, the handling methods are completely out of the standards for which we as professionals are known to institutionalize. We must certify what the consumer eats. And there is a great awareness today as to what people consume. We talk of 10 million Nigerians in Kaduna State, and the awareness is what is the quality. Am I sure that these abattoirs and the handling methods and the beef markets are not adding to the hospital bills of our citizens, the workforce that they are expected to turn in? These are the issues we will now step into and regulate right from those who want to initiate a farm. You don't just put a farm and your sewage has no outlet, and your sewage contributes to pollution. Your sewage works against the profit. For you to be in business, there are set rules and regulations. These rules and regulations are contained in the law that establish the Livestock and Livestock Products Regulatory Authority. Right from production, now we can say we are managing quackery. We are managing quackery. The things that happen are definitely out of control. We must bring sense. We must train our butchers. We must get them to understand the halal processing, the halal slaughter methods. How do we preserve? Along all of these are great opportunities for investors. You want to invest in livestock transportation, you want to invest in livestock processed beef or chicken or mutant storage, the markets will be developed so that you can be sure you are buying meat that has quality and has stamped and is ready for human consumption. Anything short of that, we are a source of destroying our own community. We will not allow that. This is what we intend to do in a short time.
Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Steen Hatchback. The Allah Milky Way initiative is a strategic partnership between Allah, the Kaduna State government, and the private sector. And it envisages the creation of dairy clusters. It is very important that with your over 100 years of experience, that you share your experience with us and then highlight the key points of this partnership, not forgetting also the opportunities that exist for investors.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. ALA signed an MOU with the Federal Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development in August 2016. In that, we gave our commitment to contribute to revive and re-establish the dairy industry in Nigeria. After a thorough analysis on where could we build our first pilots and our pilot plant for milk collection, we decided to enter into a partnership with Kaduna State. We selected